Are you there? I'm here. It's 9:01. Come on in to the bear cave where it's usually cozy and relaxing and soothing and all of that. So I will wait for a few of you to come in. I haven't been on the mic in some time, maybe a day and a half, 2 days. Hope everyone is well. Yes, we're going to get into this maybe for half an hour or so. I hope I can get this wrapped up rather quickly. Let's see. Some of you are coming in. Let's do a sound check real quick. Let me check my comments, see if my moderators, I haven't even typed anything. So at least welcome to the bear cave. Yeah. I don't see any comments out there just yet. So I'm going to wait just a moment. And I am Teddy. And this is Unwind with Teddy. Tonight it's D for you know what? I had D for disappointed. Then I changed it to D for didn't deliver. I put that post up around 6:30 this morning. And I knew I wanted to talk about it tonight for at least a bit. The interview that wasn't, that's what I'm calling it. Analyze this mess because somebody has to say it. By the way, I did listen to it was a short, maybe 4 or 5 minutes from dropping the tea, but I thought she did a rather good job summarizing it up in like 5-6 minutes. Yeah, it was thorough. Yeah. So I guess I could do that. I could try, but I'm not going to do it like that. It's not a video. It's live. But I did want to let you know. I thought she did a pretty good job of it. I'm still waiting to see anyone coming into the chat. I don't see anything yet. Let me go out to the studio outside of my chat and see what's going on here. Oh, let me pull up my channel. Oh, you know what? I cannot see anyone in my chat in my studio. And I'm glad I came out because I see some of you. Wow. I see Vicky and Baby Juju, my moderators, along with Mimi Twin, Polly, Tigerlicious. All right, so we're gonna just have a small group here tonight, and that'd be just fine with me because I got things I need to work on. All right, so let me go back to my screen. And let's get into this, shall we? So, oh boy. Have you ever watched something that was so hyped up, so billed as the big interview, and then realize halfway through it's nothing but a remix of the same excuses? That's exactly what this was. And tonight we're talking about the interview that didn't deliver and the selective memory of the guest who sat across from a host who I know very little of. But it wasn't a deep dive at all, in my opinion. It was very, on the surface, questions such as, what's your favorite food? And I thought surely she could, come up with an answer like quickly. Yeah. I mean, if somebody asked me, what's my favorite food? And, I might say breakfast, lunch, or dinner or dessert. I mean, it's like, make it conversational. That's kind of what I was looking for. It was like, All right, so I know people talk about me talking slow and all of that, but during an interview, I want to hear, or what I look for is a little more conversational. Like the host built this, and I could tell in her voice that she was excited to for her guest to arrive, and she kept saying she's running a little late, and and then when she finally did arrive, she's there, and it kind of starts off, I don't even know if it was that much kibbutzing, you know. It's like kind of go in, but it was fade to hi. Yeah, kind of like that. Not like it was like super excited or anything. Maybe the host was more excited, but it was for her guest than the guest then. Okay. Anyway, it was billed like we were going to learn something new. For me, even though it was the guest who it was, I was hoping outside of anything else that's going on, can we learn something new? Anything. I mean, just ordinary. I mean, if you want to make it like that elementary, yeah, what was it like when you grew up? Or, have you ever played in sports or, any kind? What do you like to do in your past, free time? Anything like that, to kind of start up a conversation where you make your guests feel real comfortable so that they can open up. At least that's what I thought. I still don't see my comment. Oh, wait a minute. Is my video private? Hang on, guys. Let's see. Let's see why. Let me go to my studio. Let's go. Let's see what's going on. It's public. It's not private. So I don't know why I don't see your comments. Let me go outside of my studio, come back. The screen is going to probably clear if I do that. Let me just refresh. I'm going to reload, so hang on. Let's see. I still don't see my, not inside of my studio. I don't see any comments. That means I'm going to have to put up your comments on the side. I can't even see if you're giving thumbs up. Hang on. Let me go out. And I'm going to type something. Can you hear me? So I'm looking at the chat because I don't see any comments in my studio. So that's Melissa says yes. Good. All right. Let me see if I can bring my comments. I know what I can do. Hang on. I can bring my comments onto the screen, but then you'll see them, which is okay. All right. So I kind of broke my trend or of train of thought, but I can get back to it here because I didn't even say everything. I'm just kind of talking right now, Yeah. So again, talking about the interview that didn't deliver, And I mean, like questions like, or responses. I wake up every day and the past is the past, she said. Oh, really? Because for the people she's targeted, doxxed, and humiliated, the past still wakes them up every day. See, that's the difference between letting go and pretending it never happened. One takes accountability, the other just takes audacity to say it. Let's get started. All right, so that'll be all the music for now. But how do I want to do this? Quickly. Yes. Oh, hang on. Let me just put up my banner across here. So I can keep talking. I can't see your comments, but let's try to bring them over. Kind of like my setup. And as long as there we go. So I can see them, but I'm looking from the outside. So let's just hope that my mic is open. I see it moving. Shout out to the mob, all my other bears. I call the grizzlies and the honey bears. Okay, so let's get back to it. All right. So let's just hit a few of these. A few of the questions and the responses, and it's my opinion, fair use commentary, as always, for education, criticism, and so forth. All right, so which one do we start with? Let's see, because I tried to really listen again. I said, okay, like last night I was, and then I said, before I talk about it, let me see if I can listen to these questions again. So the first question, let's just get it out of the way. So the host said, when did you decide to take content creation seriously, like one of them? And the answer was, well, initially I came to expose the sham investigation, uh, but then I decided to stay after liking YouTube and, wanted to expose racism, John Yates. And of course, I did look at, processing some of these, but because if I just start talking about it, it might sound, well, just like it has so far. So let's see if we can, try to be more, I don't know if you can say unbiased, but let AI take a look at the answers too. All right. So there were some observations, contradictions, and I'll go through them quickly. On the first one, contradictory frames entry as activism but omits her own harassment campaigns and reframes past targeting as justice work. Two, ever feel like giving up? Well, she said never, claims she has great support from her Avengers and enjoys controlling her own channels. Self mythologizing and tone, she positions herself as invincible and envied. This fuels her superiority narrative. I picked up on that. Third, how do you handle content direction versus audience demand? Oh, okay. So let's get through these boring. Let's just skip on past. We really wanted to hear, something more of a deep dive because, favorite videos. And okay, we knew about Shanquella Robinson. Again, the things initially, there was nothing new that was revealing. Nah, not really. No. Solo dolo, we've heard that before, but what does that really mean? Would you collaborate with other YouTubers? What I picked up there and what we've talked about before, it's a way to control, avoid equal dialogue, and to retain narrative dominance. Contradicts her history of inserting herself into multiple panel drama, though. How do you handle hate? Here's the first one, kind of getting into it. She says something about critics look like Dennis Rodman, and then she mocks voices and appearances. What does that reveal? Bullying tone again, using ridicule and dehumanization as a defense, demonstrates contempt for accountability. This one, what's your daily routine like? This is kind of revealing in a way, if you look behind it. Says she doesn't look back, but focuses on what's next, ignores the past. Let's just keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward. But if you knew anything about this individual, it was more of a denial strategy, erasing the history of harm. It's more like a psychological clean the slate every day to avoid responsibility. I mean, so the host could have dug into that a little bit more. Hmm. Hmm. I'll get into it. And then, the sector being how did it change? What does she dislike? Then she finally gets around to, asking about kind of steps, kind of creeps up to it. Like are you in any litigation? Almost like I maybe I heard about it, don't know, you know. And the response was, well, she came back, admits to two, but she says they're frivolous lawsuits, claims the plaintiffs are in collaboration. In collaboration. And then later, she admits that she's wanted it that way. That she set it up that way. That she inserted my name into another case vice versa. And she thinks because what's rolling out now is because of something she did. Did you guys pick up on that? That it's like a strategy of hers. Mhm. She thinks that because, and this is my words, she thinks because the judge in the other case, in Smith's case, because she makes reference to my case, Evan's case, that now it's all one and the same. Can I just pause for a moment? Because there's just something about that. It is not all one in the same case. Have you ever? I'm sure you have. This is supposed to be someone who says she's working on a PhD and says that everyone is, dumber than a fifth grader or something like that. I know I am kind of rushing through, Vicky, because I have so much I got to get done. So that's why I'm kind of, take your time, but don't take too long. All right. This is not one in the same case. Other cases, when you look at them, they might cite, and my case was cited. And yes, it is the same defendant. And yes, I'm sure the judges recognize that this common denominator, that's what you should be saying. The common denominator between the two cases is this defendant. Yes. But these cases have not been merged into one. What has, or what is taking place right now, I'll just say this part, is the dates. There's some dates that hinge on my date. And then there are things within those dates that, let me just put our interview off to the side and just say this, since we're on it. This Thursday is the deadline for objections to be filed by both parties, the defendant and the plaintiff. Once the objections to the ruling that came down 74 and 75, which was the magistrate in my case, made report and recommendations to the district judge. All right. In that case, there will be another time that will be set, 14 days, that both the defendant and the plaintiff will get a chance to object to what is filed on Thursday. All right. I am certain that I will see objections that are filed. I'm going to be filing, and the defendant is going to be filing, right? The thing about it is, it has to be related to the report and recommendations, things that were, dismissed. Perhaps, it has to be like that. All right. One of the things that was dismissed in my case was count 6, the conspiracy. So either party can deal with things that have been, dismissed. Long story short, this is going to go on until at least October the 23rd, because we're given starting the 9th, this Thursday. If both answer by that deadline, then the clock starts 14 days from there. So that's at least October the 23rd before the district judge is going to, rule. Look at, because there's a 14-day period. So that won't end until October the 23rd. I won't even say rule, but receive a response. So another objections, all right? In the meantime, another clock is there. So by November the 3rd, it's been ordered for the defendant to, reveal their identity and address. Now, someone who's smart can anticipate that this defendant is probably going to object to that. So, is it solid, set in stone? It's a recommendation, it's an order. Okay? Just like the first time when the magistrate had ruled that John Doe had to reveal himself. But then that was a little bit different because there were some other things that had precluded that had been ruled on. So by the time the district judge looked at certain things, and one of which was the subpoena, made it moot. Let me get some water. Hang on. Hang on. Let me get back to the interview because I'm sure everybody finds that so fascinating. All right, so let me do a thorough job, at least wrap up a few things that I saw. All right. Back to that interview, in all fairness. Let's see. Let me go back to. But I did stop on something that was in the interview. The case. That's why I stopped and started talking about it. All right. Hang on. Let me go back up to these questions. Shall I? And tell you what she said to that. Let's see. Yes. So the host asked about, are you in litigation? She admits there's 2 frivolous lawsuits. And then, of course, I start. But what does that say? She uses this more like reframes the litigation suit as a conspiracy, a collaboration of sorts, and self-victimization to minimize the legal gravity. And that's why I started talking about it the way that I did. Yeah. Now, do I expect, was I really looking for something in the interview? Not really. Not about the litigation, but I'm just saying the way she responded and what we learned, she just confirmed, she was trying to control the narrative. Well, it's, I did this, I basically am responsible for merging the case. No, you're not. Except that you've been invading the courts and they can see that. Allegedly. All right. And my case was cited as a precedence in the other case. But my judge isn't waiting on that case to make any ruling. No, and I haven't even gotten into what's been planted in that other case. No, because I'm focusing on what I've got coming up in my case, right? But these dates, the 3rd of November, to reveal herself and an address. And the judge in the other case has opened up the door for Smith to then serve the defendant with the address that will, we think, be given on the 3rd. That's why she's waiting until the 10th, unless she knows the address where Danielle can be served. You see, I have served Danielle, and I'm waiting for the magistrate, the judge in my case, to review what was filed, the notice, of the proof that she was served. Right? These are different clocks. It's not all one case. However, there's something, yes, in this case in my case, that the judge sees, giving Smith, keeping the door open so that she can serve Danielle. Yes, because she wasn't properly served in either case. That's what's common, that Danielle wasn't properly served. Mm-hmm. So she's sitting back and she's watching all of this. But it's not one in the same. It isn't. But it's a good thing that she's going to get an opportunity to serve her at an address that is supposed to be true, real. So that's what she's going to be waiting on. The 3rd, that's what links it together. So if one falls, it's kind of like a domino. It would be. Would you agree? Let me look at the chat because I'm not looking at it. Right? Let me see what you have to say. Back to this maybe one or two more questions, then I'm done with this interview looking at it, because there's a whole lot I could say. All right. What other questions? And advice. Here's one. What would you advise? What is your advice for new creators? She asked. Her response was, don't join this sector, and warns about jealousy, doxing, and attacks. You know how ironic that is? She describes the very harms that she has inflicted. Doxing and attacks. I see that, and this is fair use commentary, my opinion, projecting her own behavior onto others. Don't join. Don't come over here because it's just going to be doxing and attacks and jealousy, and it just stay away from this black tea sector. Yep. Wait a minute. There's a little bit more I can go into. I'm looking at the clock. It's 9:36. Okay. Let me just, without looking at these questions, just kind of think about this. Because throughout this interview, the guest portrayed herself as a victim of obsession and falsehoods while refusing, here's the thing, refusing to acknowledge any of her own documented harassment campaigns. So there could have been questions in her own tactics. How did she justify, or how does she justify her campaigns of harassment and tactics taking down channels? That could have been one thing addressed. Just merely taking down channels and false, aliases to do them. That would be real. And then she alluded to, she asked, the guest asked the host, what do you think about someone who says certain things but then makes a videos and talks about it? Because she was trying to get the buy-in, like, is this like odd that someone would be talking about it and they're involved in the lawsuit, and then the host says, yeah, I wouldn't talk about it. Kind of like that. Take it serious. What I'm talking about are things that people haven't heard, or the truth they want to suppress. It's not like I'm making things up. No, I digress though. There's a lot that could have been unpacked in that shallow interview, because it really was superficial. There was no depth to it, and we didn't learn anything new. Again, it didn't have to be anything about the litigation or any of that. Just something really new that humanized her. Conversation. I did say, in my post, Jaguar Wright has nothing to be concerned about any competition on the blue couch. Because at least Jaguar Wright, she's conversational, even if she wants to take over the conversation. I interviewed her. It was spontaneous. And we ended up talking for about 4 hours. Because once she relaxed and we, just kind of talk. Yeah. I was looking for a conversation. And then I thought, this person has had an opportunity to, I guess they formulated some questions. But again, there was no introspection, none. She alluded to, like, back to, what do you do every day? Well, she just moves on. Carry on. Forget about the past. The past is the past. You can't change it. But you can take accountability, none of which that has ever been done. So she just, kind of lobbed that and moved on from that question. Like, the host didn't even tap into it. Like, have you ever, let's not talk about here on the platform. Has Has there ever been a time when this or that? Is there anything that you would change? That you would change? Well, she kind of alluded to that, but then it still went down a certain pathway that it descended into more. The answers were kind of encrypted on some level to me. I don't know. It was a way, I think, to reshape or rebrand herself in lieu of what's going on in reality. Kind of, this is my opinion, maybe having someone like do a kind of a PR. I'm going to sit down and maybe someone I know is going to throw me some softballs and it's going to look like I'm this person that, I mean, if you didn't know anything about this guest, you would think what did you learn? If this was someone brand new, and I'm sure because it was billed that way, maybe people that hadn't heard about or really watched this guest, they were coming maybe to learn something new, or maybe it was just mostly her audience. I don't know. It certainly would, if it didn't happen, I would think that was the goal, to reshape this individual, like come out now, because maybe something else is going to come out. So let's get ahead of that, because things have been, cleaning up and doing it. Did she ask her about channels that disappeared? Did she ask about, there's so much? See, she's not going to tap in to the truth. I mean, at least hit her with one hard, solid question about anyone. Forget about any litigants. How did she feel when this or that happened? Do you have any remorse for any of the things? I mean, come on. There was nothing that we learned new. I didn't learn anything new that I didn't already know. There was nothing there. It was shallow, in my opinion. There was no depth. Even in her answers, her responses, my opinion. And I think that could be because the host could have asked follow-up questions. And not to be, critical. I don't know the host. But maybe she wanted to keep it, maintain it a certain way. But I'm just saying, for the majority, for the sector, forget about litigants. For the sector, what did the sector learn? Again, she's billing this individual that people might, are interested in learning something. No. Yeah. So she asked her, what is your favorite food? And she finally got, kind of tossed her, all right, chicken. And, there's barbecue and there's lemon. And, finally she got around to saying chicken. As a host, okay, let her have the chicken, okay? I like chicken. You know what I would have probably, if I were interviewing someone, not her, but just somebody who said they like chicken. Okay, so let's work with that. Can we do that? All right. Can you cook? I want to know, what's your favorite recipe? Let's get into it. Because it's something that they like. No, really, something as simple as chicken. How do you like yours prepared? Have you ever turned to, you know what? She left me with knowing, can she even cook? Have you ever prepared chicken or do you just pick it up? I want to know. I want to know, what's your favorite dish? What do you want to put with your chicken? I mean, come on. It's something as simple as that to make a conversation. Do you like it? Well, I mean, come on. I'm really simplifying it, but I could have made it much more interesting for my audience and for my own interests in my guests. Yes, I would have. I would have. It was like, okay, chicken. That's an easy question. That was a softball. Come on. I mean, it's okay. You can ask a person's favorite color or a person's, but follow it up with something at this point. You know, it's kind of like when somebody's dating, you know, when they're very young, I guess, teenagers. You know, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite movie? Yeah, it was kind of like check the box, check, but follow it up. You know, let's go a little bit deeper here. It's okay to ask that, but let's really go into some conversation about it. You know, because, you know, when you're a teenager, you know, you're just checking boxes. You know, getting to know your classmate or something. We're beyond that here in this sector, right? I know. Yeah, I want to. I know you're going to give me a thumbs down. That's okay. That's okay. Maybe there will be a follow up, but honestly, I have to give it. Did anyone watch that? I felt like it was maybe different than, you know, that other interview that she did on. That was definitely some different kind of questions, but this was the one opportunity. It was like, I got this interview. I mean, you could tell from the host, you know, I got the interview. Yeah. You had someone sit there in the seat and didn't learn what did you learn? What did your audience learn? What did they walk away with? Do they want to have her back? This was definitely no Cat Williams. There was no conversation, none. And I don't know. I would have asked some follow-up question. I really would have. Yeah, it was more like a panel I don't even know if it was a panel discussion. Okay, y'all don't want to hear any more about that. It's 9:49. Where should I go? Back to, okay, so just to kind of wrap that part up. So when I heard the one thing, the one thing that she threw out there, the cases are different cases. We do have the same, you know, defendant. And yes, the cases are now known to the court. And ultimately, both of us plaintiffs want to get the defendant served so the cases can move forward. Mm-hmm. But she's trying to make it like, oh, they've just rolled it all into one case. No, it is not one case. It's going to be heard once she's served. Mm-hmm. I mean, really. Then the district judge, you know, based on, so we're at the point in my case, the report and recommendations And I'm waiting to hear that she was properly served. Hang on again. Yes. So there's a lot of moving parts. And we've got a defendant who is, they say they play chess, not checkers. So they're looking down and seeing how they're going to move in between these two boards and trying to merge them together. I know what she's doing. Just like, sitting back and watching what was going on before she stepped into my case, our case now, or my case. Yeah. Mhm. I was saying, it could be dominoes right now, right? Do you hear me? The mic. Okay, I see the thing is moving. Dominoes, because let's say, I shouldn't even say, but I'm just being. We don't know what the future's going to hold. We don't know anything right now. We just know what is on the books, and we know what's been ordered. Okay, how people are going to respond, I don't know. Not to be certain. All right. What if we didn't get an address? What if we didn't get a name? I'm not even dealing with that yet. As the defendant said to the interviewer, it's a new day. I just keep moving forward, keep moving forward. The past is the past. That's kind of, I could talk a lot, but I can't tonight. But what if? What if? There's a lot of what ifs in this case. And I've never sat here and said it's over. I haven't. I have not. I have cautioned my audience. I have not tried to pull the wool over anyone's eyes at all. This is a real catch me if you can. Polly, in the chat, I see you. Maybe I should put these over. Let's see if I can do that. Hang on. Let's see if I can. Then that way I can actually. Oh, let's see. Oh, since I'm into it, I'm gonna try to move the chat over. Ran over big. And hang on, let's put up a cover real quick. It'll be real fast. Here we go. There we go. And we'll switch this around. Make it even larger. Better. Now I can see the chat. I don't have to. Yeah. So we can spend some time now. I can look at the chat. What do you think? Yeah. So Polly right there in the middle, member, thank you, says, yep, it's straight up. Catch me if you can. Said that too. Keep looking forward. Mm-hmm. So There's a lot of what ifs. That's what I'm saying. So what if I have her served? But then come November the 4th or 3rd, and it would really be, will I get information right on the 3rd? I think so. They have to midnight to file things. So it would be, the 4th, probably. What if nothing shows up? I don't know how it's going to happen. She's supposed to file. She file on the docket, and then everybody gets to see it. That's fine. But then I will update it on the record. That's what the judge ordered me. So if I don't get a name, I can't update. And then, I mean, if the ruling if it stays the way that it is, nothing gets overturned, changes, then what? Then the court would still be expecting it. Right now, the court is expecting it. Okay. What would that mean for my case? And what would that mean for Smith's case? It could mean two different things entirely. Or it could mean, the judge could just rule. Sir, who knows? If the judge keeps seeing evasion, I don't know how the judge is going to rule. Because that wouldn't give Smith the opportunity. But the judge sees this, right? So the judge could rule default. I don't know how it's going to come down. And it could be default judgment. I don't know. So that's why I'm not even really, this is my first time really kind of addressing. I'm not even looking that far. If you knew, I have 2.5 more days, and I'm working to get some things, organized so that I can respond. Yes, I'm going to object to something. I had certain things thrown out, things that I think. Yeah, but it's not going to be I'm never frivolous, and I'm not going to put pages and pages just to stuff the box. That's not me. And I do expect, I can anticipate that there's probably going to be some anonymity, just like John. But the judge who made the report and recommendation, the magistrate, said you can't have it both ways. It's just not fair. And it's prejudice the plaintiff. Yeah. Can't hide behind anonymity and do things. You just can't have, but you can't have it both ways. And there is legal precedence that the judge cited for it. I just haven't read all of that. But to my audience, we'll get into it another night. It's 10 o'clock. Okay. But yeah. See, she wants everything her way. Everything. She's never going to concede. Never, in my opinion. I've seen no evidence that this person is going to ever Never. Have you ever seen them on YouTube admit to anything? See, I don't make stuff up. And I don't try to, I'm not trying to create something that's not. I'm just asking. Right? So, yes, it's delay, delay, delay. I see someone. She doesn't like the judge at this moment. She is going to stall. I don't know what she's going to do, but I do know what's happened in the past is to delay. She said it herself. It's to delay, just like with the CCB. She knew she wasn't going to win it. She just wanted to delay it. Kick the can down the street. Just punt. Just keep moving the ball around. And hopes that buys time to further do whatever to keep concealment and to frustrate. What that would do, I didn't say it's going to be done. I'm looking at somebody's comments. What that would do is only frustrate the court. And of course, it would frustrate the litigants. It would frustrate the plaintiffs. But it will also frustrate the court. This is a federal court. There are 2 cases in the federal court. Okay. The judges, they have to follow the law. That's why if a litigant, if the defendant hasn't been properly served, they want to make sure that she or he or whoever is served in any case. Otherwise, the argument can be made later in an appeal, and the judge doesn't want their decisions to be overturned in an appeal. So they want to make sure they get it right. Show cause, show cause, show cause. Because they don't want to be turned over or overturned, it should be said. So, yes, the court is watching. And what I'm talking about, and in the manner I'm talking about, I think I'm being respectful, and I'm trying my very best to be transparent, talk about the things that I think I can in a way that I can without misleading. So I'm just telling people, and nothing is, it's not done till the ink's on, right? That's how it is. It's not done until the ink dries. Isn't that how it goes? Kind of something like that. Let's see. Let's see if I could roll it up and down the questions, but oh yes, I can. But then you can't see. I wouldn't do that except in I'm not seeing the questions in my studio. It says that it's because it's private, but I know it's not. Okay, so let's see. We've got Melissa, Polly, Rare Groove, Fiva, of course, my moderators, others, old school. Let's see. Jane Locke, it's not me. What was this? What is this? Jane says, DR was counting on a dismissal due to failed service. I think that's plausible. Absolutely. Because here's why. I can say with certainty that she was thinking that way because she put it in a post. She said the judge, this was last year, she said the judge is going to dismiss the cases, that they will never even see the light of day. Never even see the light of day. So yes, she was thinking from the beginning that it wouldn't even get this far so far. We're not there yet. But she thought it was just going to be tossed out without even consideration, that what was filed was so frivolous, she said. Well, the judge has been reading the case. I can't say until I see for sure. I got this hurdle. I haven't even checked. It's just Monday. Okay. And I just submitted it on Friday. So they probably uploaded it. The judge will get a chance to review it and make a ruling. And once the ruling, if it comes back, she's served. And we'll have a case. Yeah, because jurisdiction, she's already satisfied on certain counts. Yes. So she's just waiting for service. And then once service is made, yeah, the district judge is already going to be looking at some things. That's what she's waiting on Thursday, and then for another 2 weeks. It's a lot to it'll be a lot of moving parts. And then when the address comes in, and I'm just going to say it, it's going to come in on the 3rd, then Smith can serve Danielle at the address. And if she gets it to that address, and this is supposed to be a valid address, I can't say, but I think she's going to be served. Accept it. Mm-hmm. She can use a registered agent. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the name is important. People say, well, why you want to know her name? Nobody, you're the only person that really wants her name, remember? Nobody wanted her name months ago. There might have been one or two. Everybody else, why do you got to know her name? Well, the judge said why. It's important. Yeah, you got to know having a name and address. Even if the judgment comes forward, what can you do with paper? You can't even go after someone if it's not, you don't know the name. And yeah. Right? Let's see. I bet she is up and through those judges. I don't know about that. I don't, it's like I don't even want to comment. Really. Let me just say, thinking she can mess with them because she's anonymous. She better not. And I could say it like that. I'm sure. Oh, no. No. Mm-mm. Please don't tell me you would think that. I don't even think that. Judges, I don't know. I don't think that way. The court is watching. The court is watching. Mm-hmm. Gross misuse of taxpayers' dollars. She needs to be careful because definitely on the radar with the U.S., federal courts, copyright board, the federal courts here in Detroit. Yeah. Let's see. Just wait until they actually start looking at all your video evidence in her own words. That's what they haven't been able to. They haven't looked at any of the video because you have to get leave. The judge has to approve it that you can submit audio and visual videos. That's where my evidence lies. That's where the majority of my evidence is in those videos. She knows that. She knows that. It's in the videos. And guess, oh, you know what? I'm not going to give anything else away. It's 10:12. She better not. Okay. Let's see. It's not me. It's not me. Let's look. Rare group fact. She has no plan B. Oh, she said in her interview. She said in her interview she's not pressed at all. Everybody's pressed but her, she said. In so many words. She did use the word press. She said she's not pressed. No. No, not at all. No, she's, as cool as a cucumber. She didn't say that, but she's not pressed. That's the way I take it. She said she always wins, and she said she can convince the judge. It is 10:13. I have got to say goodnight. I'm over. All right. Anything else? I haven't checked my email. I tried to talk fast enough. Maybe I did. Anything else? Let's see. Yes. That's a good point. That's a good point. So quickly, real quick. I have never, ever, ever, ever really talked about that bicycle lady. Okay? So if people think and they keep saying you're in cahoots, you're in cahoots. If I were in such cahoots, wouldn't I think it was the bicycle lady? Wouldn't I be agreeing on everything? I have never said anything about that bicycle lady. It's like, okay, maybe there might be something there, kind of like that. Yeah. And I have said that everyone has their right to their own opinion and to think, yeah, because I don't know. Until I know, I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. But what I do know is that there are a lot of people saying, why does she want to know her name? Okay. All right. That's it. Anything else? Yeah, I have to rewind it. I hope I didn't yell. I didn't think I did, but it's like, okay, I'm just matter of fact tonight. Let's see. Usually I wrap it up a little bit nicer, cleaner with the bow and all of that. Let's see. Deeper analysis for later. I am in kind of a, you can tell I'm in kind of a hurry. Let's see. I don't want to be like that. Just looking over anything else. How can I wrap? Anything else that I didn't, that I think? I'll just say it like this. This wasn't closure. Did I learn anything new? No. This was D for didn't deliver. And yeah, D for didn't deliver because, well, it wasn't, how could I say? It wasn't served up in the answers. That's what it was. Okay. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the grizzlies and the honey bears. Please hit the like on your way out. Join me. Keep your bear phone on. Right now I'm busy. Super. Yeah. Email me. I didn't check my email. Do we have any? Okay. Thank you very much for your emails. We'll get to them another time. Anything else burning that my moderators? Thank you, all of you. Because I didn't see the chat. Let me just see. Yeah. All right. But you can decide, you can make up your own mind. That was my quick feedback. All right. That's it. All right. Please hit the like on your way out. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Good night.